Broadcasting live on YouTube, Facebook, and X. Here's your host, Andrew Romanella.
Okay? Like, just get the hell out of here. Nobody cares what you think if you're not a Mets fan.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome into another edition of The Rome Show here on YouTube and X. I am your host, Andrew Romanella. We got a Monday, September 8th, 2025, and the first weekend of the National Football League to break down, and I am so excited to dive into everything with the people today. Weekend's worst, weekend's best, Monday morning quarterback, and your preview for Monday Night Football. Before we do any of that, we remind the people that they can get the show on youtube.com/The Romanellas. Go to youtube.com/The Romanellas and hit the subscribe button, and you can get all the great content on the Romanellas YouTube page, including the Rome Show airing daily at 7:05 in the morning. Also, head to X, or Twitter X, as we call it on this show, and go ahead and follow the Rome Show 1. That's the Rome Show, then the number 1. Those are the two easiest ways to lock in on the show live Monday through Friday. We also have the Facebook, the Rome Show 1 as well. The Rome Show podcast, wherever you get your podcast, just search the Rome Show podcast. I said weekend's worst. I said weekend's best. I said Monday morning quarterback, and we will start right there. Let's pop on the theme music and let's take you through all of the games from this weekend in the National Football League in what we will call the slowest 3 minutes in the history of radio. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get started on Friday night, because the Chargers and the Chiefs played a contest on Friday night, and the Chargers won in Brazil 27-21. If you were listening to the show on Friday, okay, I gave my banana picks to everybody, and we chose the Chargers at the plus, I think it was 3.5. And what I said, go to the Rome Show 1 on Instagram, Facebook, X, TikTok, whatever the social media site is. Go ahead, go to the Rome Show 1 and listen to the clip. We put it up, okay? And the Chargers, they won. And the Chiefs are the only team in the AFC West right now without a victory 1 week in. I said everyone's going to freak out, and then all of a sudden at the end of the year, we're going to sit there, and they're 12-5. Chiefs 27, Chargers 27, Chiefs 21, Justin Herbert 25 of 34, 318, and 4 TDs. Let's go to the Sunday slate, starting with my Miami Dolphins, who were atrocious, losing to the Indianapolis Colts 33-8. The Colts in this game, led by Daniel Jones, were fantastic. They scored on every single possession to start the season. How about that? First time in the history of the National Football League that an offense has scored on every single possession. Daniel Jones looks like he found a home, at least temporarily. 22 of 29, 272, 1 TD, and then added 26 rushing yards and 2 rushing touchdowns. Great game not only for the Colts, but for Daniel Jones as he starts his redemption season. The Miami Dolphins, Tua Tagovailoa, their offense, their defense, Mike McDaniels, everything really bad for the Dolphins on Sunday. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they defeated the Falcons 23-20. Michael Penix Jr. was the leading quarterback in this game from a numbers standpoint. 298, through the air and 1 touchdown. Baker Mayfield led a drive late in this contest to give the Buccaneers the lead. They were down 20-16 with less than 4 minutes, maybe even less time, remaining in the game. Great job by Baker and the Bucs. The Bengals, they squeak by the Browns. This is why I didn't pick this game in my pick'em for week number 1, because though I believe the Bengals should have won this game, man, do they play some tough football against the Browns. 17-16, the Bengals won that contest. Joe Burrows only threw for 113 yards in this contest. Joe Flacco had 2 interceptions for the Dog Pound. The Dog Pound's defense played really well in this contest. They had 3 sacks and 7 QB hits on Joe Burrows, but the Bengals, they get the victory, a big one in week 1, especially since going into this season, everybody's been talking about how much the Bengals need to get off to a hot start. And though it wasn't hot by the definition of how well they played, it's a victory in the National Football League. That's all that matters. The Raiders, they beat the New England Patriots in New England, ruining Mike Vrabel's coaching debut. Ashton Janti got his first career NFL touchdown, but that was pretty much it for him. Only had 19 carries for an average of 2.0 yards per carry. However, Geno Smith showed up for the Las Vegas Raiders, 362 yards in the air and 1 touchdown for the quarterback of the Gold and Black. He also ran for 10 yards on the ground. Drake May and the New England Patriots were okay. And as we talked about in 32 teams in 32 days, if you missed it, the Rome Show podcast, wherever you get your podcast, this isn't going to be an unbelievable year for the Patriots. It's resetting the foundation for what the future is going to look like with Mike Vrabel. So don't expect a lot of excitement coming out of that ball club this year. The Cardinals, they defeated the Saints 20-13 in a rather underwhelming contest. Spencer Rattler at 214 yards had to pass the ball 46 times in his New Orleans Saints debut. They're going to have to do a better job of getting Alvin Kamara going. He only ran for 45 yards total in this contest, but he did add a rush on the ground. Kyler Murray, not that great of a day, but efficient. Threw for 163 yards, but had 2 TDs and did not throw an interception. Also ran for 38 yards on the ground. Trey Benson, you heard that correctly, and James Conner combined for 108 yards on the ground, 146 total as an offense for Arizona. Aaron Rodgers, in his return to the New York Jetropolitans, beats his old team 34-32. And not only that, he makes it a comeback in the fourth quarter. The Steelers score 17, outscoring the Jets by 11 points in the fourth quarter to win this game 34-32. Aaron Rodgers, 244 and 4 TDs in his return against the Jets. Justin Fields, not a bad day for the Jets as well. 218 yards through the air, 48 on the ground, and 1 TD. For all intents and purposes, it looks like both the Jets and the Steelers, though only one contest, significantly better off for the quarterback decisions they made going into this season. The Commanders, they waxed the Giants 21-6. How about this statistic? The Giants, in their last 3 season openers, have scored a total of 0 touchdowns. Yeah, you heard that correctly. 0 touchdowns in the last 3 season openers for the New York Football Giants, getting outscored 89-12. 89-12 in season openers. Commanders 21-6. Don't need to go much deeper into that one. The Jags, they beat the Panthers in Liam Cohen's head coaching debut. Sorry, early in the morning, brain doesn't work beautifully. I'm sure what a lot of people are wondering is, how is Travis Hunter? He had 6 receptions to lead the Jags for 33 yards, didn't play much on defense. The running game, however, for the Jags was off the charts. 200 yards on the ground, including 143 for Travis Etienne Jr. Not great exceptional, not exceptional on both sides of the fence, quarterback play-wise in that game. We continue with the Broncos. They barely squeaked out a victory against the Titans. If this loss happened for the Broncos, it would have knocked out my entire survivor pool for week number 1. But nonetheless, good teams, they find a way to win even on their worst days. I would think when we look back on the season, this is going to be the worst day all year for the Broncos. They beat the Titans 20-12. Not a great day for Bo Nix. Not a great day for anybody, really, in that contest. The 49ers, they scored 10 in the fourth quarter to defeat the Seahawks on the road. Brock Purdy throws a huge touchdown pass late to make up for the 2 interceptions he had and the not-so-exceptional quarterback play from his standpoint. Sam Darnold, same thing, only threw for 150 yards, 124 of those. The Jackson Smith in Jigba. Going to have to see what weapons can come out of the woodwork for the Seattle Seahawks. 49ers 17, Seahawks 13. The Packers, they put a hurting on the the Lions, 27-13. This did not look like the Lions team that won 15 games last year. Jared Goff looked Micah Parsons in his first game for the Packers looked energized. Jordan Love looked solid. They spread the wealth to receivers. They had 5 different receivers with at least 2 receptions, and they had 10 different receivers with a reception for 188 yards. The defense produced 4 sacks on the day. Micah Parsons had 1 of them for the Packers. Good day for the green and gold. I told you, slowest 3 minutes in the history of time. The Rams, they beat the Texans 14-9. Not much to talk about in this game, minus the fact that Matthew Stafford reached over 60,000 passing yards in his career in this contest. Congratulations to Matthew Stafford. The Rams 14, Texans 9. They got a lot to clean up there in Houston. Then finally, if you didn't watch this game last night, you missed a really good one, because the Buffalo Bills somehow, some way, defeated the Baltimore Ravens 41-40 yesterday on Sunday Night Football. The Bills were down in this contest, okay, as much as 15 with like 4 minutes left in the game. The win probabilities were so down at one point with 0.08% chance to win this game. The Bills come storming back, 22 points in the fourth quarter, a big fumble by Derrick Henry, who had a really big day leading up to that fumble. And Josh Allen throws for 394 yards, runs for another 30, so over 400 yards on the ground, and accounts for 4 touchdowns for the Bills to lead over the Ravens in a revenge playoff game from last year, 41-40. And that is your slowest 3 minutes in the history of the National Football League. We're going to take a quick commercial break, come back. We got some more Monday morning quarterback, but we're talking Monday Night Football and something we do every single week, our weekend's worst and our weekend's best. So much more to do here on The Rome Show, broadcasting live on the Romanella's YouTube and The Rome Show 1 on Instagram and Twitter X. Back after this commercial break that you could be sponsoring. Yeah, it's the Rome Show. Broadcasting live on the Romanella's YouTube and the Rome Show 1 on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, X, all the social media sites. I'm Andrew Romanella. It's a Monday, September 8th, 2025. We're Monday morning quarterbacking here on the Rome Show. First 15 minutes is the slowest 3 minutes in the history of sports. Go get it on the Rome Show podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts. I know that sounds funny, right? The last 15 minutes was the slowest 3 minutes in sports, but we got a lot of football to talk about after day one on Sunday. Okay, we have the weekend's best and the weekend's worst here for the people. I got three in both categories, okay? And we're going to go ahead and get this thing started off with three of the top three worst weekends you got to think about here. And let's go with number one, okay? And if you weren't paying attention to what's going on in Major League Baseball, hopefully this will help you out just a little bit, okay? So the New York Metropolitans, they played a three-game series against the Cincinnati Reds over the weekend with a small lead in the wild card. If the Mets would have just handled business against the Reds, they could have maybe put a kibosh on wild card spot number 3. Instead, your number one weekend worst for the people, oh yeah, is the New York Metropolitans, because they lost 2 or 3 to the Cincinnati Reds. That's right. So now the Mets are only 4 games up on both the Reds and the San Francisco Giants. All three teams, the Mets, the Reds, and the Giants, have 19 games remaining. Oh, by the way, the Cardinals and the Diamondbacks are also still in that mix with 4.5 games back of the New York Metropolitans. So the Mets, they get the number one slots for the weekend's worst. Let's continue on. Your number 2 weekend's worst here, ladies and gentlemen, gets handed out to both New York sporting football teams. Yes, you heard that correctly, okay? The Jets and the Giants both get the second slot on the weekend's worst. First off, the Jets give up 17 points in the fourth quarter to lose their home opening contest. On top of that, they allow Aaron Rodgers to look how they wanted Aaron Rodgers to look for the 2 years he was in a Jets uniform, okay? Clearly, something's in the water in New York when it comes to being a Jets quarterback, because the long line of quarterbacks that play not very good. Actually, let's call it not a Jets thing. Let's call it a MetLife thing, because we're about to talk about Daniel Jones too. Think about that, ladies and gentlemen, okay? MetLife Stadium QBs, they leave, they perform better. Weekend's worst, the Jetropolitans. How about the New York Giants? 6 points? Are we serious? 231 total yards of offense, a brutal defense. Just a bad weekend for New York football. They get the second slot on weekend's worst. And finally, my Miami Dolphins. They were terrible, okay? 8 total points. Are you serious? What did we work on all offseason? Do we not have a plan to play football in week number 1? And I know it's not time to go all, oh no, the season's over. But that was bad. That is bad football that I never want to witness again. So the Miami Dolphins, you get the final slot of weekend's worst here on the Rome Show. Don't want to end up on the weekend worst list. And I feel like there's like 5 to 10 other things I can put on every list every time, but I try and break it down to the top 3 worst weekends. How about the top 3 best weekends? Oh, yeah. How about some tennis, ladies and gentlemen? The U.S. Open completed over the weekend, and Arina Sabalenka and Carlos Alcaraz were the 2 victors on both the women's and the men's side. Sabalenka revenges a loss against Amanda Anasamola, who she lost to in the Wimby semifinals in the last Grand Slam. This time defeats her in 94 minutes. 6-3, 7-6 for the U.S. Open Championship. Carlos Alcaraz, he defeats Jannik Sinner, two foes that have seen each other plenty of times in the past. He defeats Jannik Sinner 6-2, lost 3-6, then wins 6-1, 6-4. Skinner is now 1-7 all-time versus Alcaraz, but catch this stat, 109-4. Oh my God. Against the rest of the APT Pro Tennis competition. Congratulations to Sabalenka and Alcaraz, number one on the weekend's best. How about number two? University of South Florida. Not one, but two straight victories against top 25 opponents in college football. This week, an 18-16 victory over the University of Florida. So South Florida has now ruined the opener for Boise State last weekend, 34-7, and then came back this weekend after Florida was feeling all frisky off of beating LIU 55-0, and they lose to South Florida. So South Florida, your number two weekend best. What a weekend. And now they're ranked number 18 in the nation. And finally, back to baseball for your final weekend best. Cal Raleigh had a weekend for the Seattle Mariners, helped keep them in that third wild card spot. I believe they're up a game and a half now on the Texas Rangers. They won two straight, defeated the Atlanta Braves 2 out of 3, and Cal Raleigh went 4 of 15 with 3 homers, 4 RBIs, and now hit his major league leading 53rd homer. Your weekend best right there. Cal Raleigh, USF, and our U.S. Open champions. But some honorable mention, by the way, in the category of weekend's worst and weekend's best. In the weekend best honorable mention category, Daniel Jones and Aaron Rodgers. Okay, and Daniel Jones was not a revenge game like against the New York Giants or anything specific like that. But when you really break it down, there's so much to being a quarterback in the National Football League, let alone a quarterback that everyone, I guess, thinks is really bad or whatever the case is. I have no idea. But for Daniel Jones to bounce back that quickly and turn around and have that good of a game week one, that has got to be great for his confidence moving forward for the next 16 weeks. And then for Aaron Rodgers, I think we all knew he had something in the tank. We didn't know what that something looked like. That something looked better than any of the times I've seen him in the last 2 years in the green and white. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to get back on the commercial just for 30 seconds and then come back and finish this show with a Monday Night Football preview. We got the Chicago Bears facing off against the Minnesota Vikings to complete the week one slate. So we'll take this quick commercial break. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, you can be advertising on this commercial. Hit us up, the Romanellas on YouTube, the Rome Show 1 on any of the social media sites, or you can shoot us an email. No matter what, why don't you sponsor this next commercial break and we can keep prospering here on the Rome Show. Back in 30 seconds. That's right. Welcome back into the Rome Show here, broadcasting live on the Romanella's YouTube and the Rome Show 1 on Twitter X. I'm your host, Andrew Romanella. We got a few minutes left in this show. And with that few minutes, we'd love to give you a little daily bananas Monday Night Football preview here on the Rome Show. Let's get going here as we end this Monday morning show. All right. Dun, dun, dun. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Monday Night Football, your first one of the year. The Minnesota Vikings, the Chicago Bears, ESPN, 8:15 tonight. The Vikings, they are favored in this contest by 1.5 points, and the over-under is 44.5. When you break down all of the on-paper numbers for this game, it comes down to a few things. Number one, quarterback play. J.J. McCarthy is making his first start in his NFL career after coming off of a season-ending injury on his knee last year in the preseason. So what is the offense for Minnesota going to look like? Because last year, Sam Darnold, the best year of Sam Darnold's career, got him paid, although in Seattle, again, even if J.J. McCarthy is supposed to be better than Sam Darnold long-term, that was a really good year for your starting quarterback. Can your rookie QB mimic that for the Minnesota Vikings? That's question number one. Justin Jefferson, how healthy is he? Was dealing with a hammy since the middle of July. It says he's good to go, but is he going to be number one, the best wide receiver possibly in the game when he's on the field? How about Caleb Williams, the sophomore QB for the Chicago Bears, that had a very underwhelming rookie year with 20 TDs and 6 INTs. Now, Ben Johnson, the new head ball coach for the Chicago Bears, should hopefully bring a revived excitement to this offense, and hopefully you're going to see that on weekend number one for the Bears. There's a lot of talent on this Bears team. DeAndre Swift, Rome Odunze, DJ Moore, the list can continue to go on. But how is Caleb going to hold up with the new retooled offensive line that gave up way too many sacks last year? Is it all going to click? And it's not going to always click on week one, but will it look like it's better than it has the last 18 weeks of him quarterbacking this team? Those two questions right there are going to be answered. And when they are, you'll have a feeling on how this game will play out. Finally, we mentioned it, first-year head coach Ben Johnson. How does his team perform in their first opportunity with him at the helm of the Chicago Bears? We will find out. I'm going to take the Minnesota Vikings at the minus 1.5. Excuse me. Wow. How about that? Going dyslexic on myself here. I'm taking the Bears at the plus 1.5. And the biggest reason why I'm doing that is just because I believe a little bit more in the fact that there's more camaraderie on the Bears side offensively than there is with J.J. McCarthy and the Vikings. Do I think this Vikings team will be pretty good? Yeah, we made that prediction in the 32 for 32. But do I think tomorrow the Bears can get one here? Absolutely, I do. Give me the Bears tonight. Give me the Bears at the plus 1.5. And then DeAndre Swift, I saw on the Banana Sphere, is 52.5 rushing yards is his line. I am going to take the over on that 52.5. So give me the Bears at the plus 1.5.
Ba 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 na na.
And give me DeAndre Swift at over 52.
Ba 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 na na.
And
Ba 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 ba.
Banana. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's the Rome Show here on a Monday. I hope you had a blast, because I had a blast. I love it. I hope you love it too, here on the Romanellas and the Rome Show 1 on Twitter X. Back tomorrow morning, 7:05 a.m. Make sure you're tuned in. Andrew Romanella. Have an electric Monday. Start your week off right, and I'll see you tomorrow. Peace!
Thank you for listening.